Good evening, everyone. Welcome to COS Indiana Live. My name is Dale Parrish. I'm the State Director for Convention of States here in Indiana, and I want to welcome you to our broadcast this evening. Now, you may notice we have a little different look this evening. My co-host, who is Ken Kashuba, is normally with me, but Ken is working tonight. As a matter of fact, he's he has a business of his own. He's a videographer, and he's doing a shoot somewhere. I can't remember where it is, but anyway, he is tied up this evening, so I will be handling everything myself this evening, and we'll have Ken back on next week with me. Of course, in lieu of Ken being out this evening, I'll be monitoring the comments and questions, and I'll try and do my best to recognize those that are coming in, and I'll do my best, folks, because we've got a very, very good program lined up for you this evening. Now, I want to also mention, since Ken is not with us tonight, we will not be doing the viewer polling that we normally do. I'm sorry to say. So Ken normally handles that for us, but since he's out tonight, we're going to forego that part of our broadcast. And just as well, because that's going to give us more time to talk to our guest this evening. And I think you're going to really, really enjoy our guest and the topic that we're going to be talking about tonight. So let's move along here. I just want to mention this is something that I've started doing here recently, and that's counting the number of broadcasts that we've done. So tonight is number 148, 148 broadcasts on Monday evenings like this. So we're moving right along, planning a little bit of a celebration when we get to 150. So, and of course, 200, we'll do something big for that evening as well. But anyway, number tonight is number 148. So I just want to remind you all our national website, conventionofstates.com, and our roundtable broadcast coming up on May 23rd. Of course, the roundtable broadcast is always on the fourth Monday of every month. So we dedicate the entire broadcast that evening to a roundtable format. And we've been having really great success with our roundtable broadcasts and a very, very good viewer response. So we'll be getting ready to do another one here on May 23rd. I might mention that the polling that Ken does on our Monday evening, our normal Monday evening broadcast, like tonight, of course, Ken's not here this evening, but normally the responses we get on that polling exercise drives the content of what we talk about on the roundtable on the fourth Monday of every month. So the polling is very important to us. And so I hope you will all look to join us on May 23rd. Now, I do want to mention also that anytime, if you're watching our broadcast and you have any questions after the fact, after the broadcast, where you haven't had a chance an opportunity to submit your comment or question, you can send it to us at our email address being shown here, raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. So that's where you can send us your comments, questions after the broadcast, something maybe you thought about afterwards, didn't have an opportunity to comment or ask. That's when you can do it, is send that email to us and we'll respond to you. Let me just check some banners here to see if we've got anything going on here. Here's David Todd, Shalom from Greenfield, Indiana. So glad to have you with us tonight, David. Here's Storm Chaser. I've seen Storm Chaser here. Good evening, everyone. So glad to have him with us. Rick Lyon. Rick is our events coordinator, and he's saying we are here with you. So I think that's probably referring to him and his wife, Susan, who is our newsletter editor. And might as well get this one in too. Jerry Rowe, one of our systems information analysts. Good evening, cowboys, farmers, and production workers from the Great Plains of Indiana and beyond. So thanks, Jerry. Thanks for tuning in tonight. All right, let me move on here. And I've mentioned the email address. Now, normally, we would have Ken give you some information on how to set yourself up to do the polling. But as I said, we're going to skip over that tonight because Ken's not with us. So let me give you an idea of what we're going to be talking about tonight. Now, as you know, our theme so far this year, and it's really been a good theme, and we're going to continue with this theme, and that is, what action can I take in Convention of States? And when I talk about action, we're talking about being an activist. And we want to show you and discuss with you ways in which you can express your activism through Convention of States. Now, that activism may be in the form of taking on a leadership role, maybe in the form of serving a particular other type of leadership position in our organization here in Indiana. It may involve attending a rally. It may involve testifying before a Senate committee or a House committee at the state capitol in Indy. It may be just going to the state capitol with us and just talking to legislators. So your form of activism can take many, many different roles. And as a matter of fact, we're going to talk about that a little bit more later on as we wrap up on this interview that we're having tonight. We have a project that we're rolling out. It's called the Road to Activism. And I'm going to be talking about that a little bit more later on. And we're basically, this is a project where we're going to be offering and letting people know the various ways that you can exercise your activism through Convention of States. So it's called Road to Activism. So keep in mind on that. All right. Now, tonight, we're going to be talking about one of those ways that you can express your activism. And let me tell you what it's going to be. It's going to be about block walking. And the GOTC, that's get off the couch and get involved in block walking. And this is something kind of new to Convention of States nationally, quite honestly. And we're going to be implementing this here in Indiana. Now, to get us kind of kick things off for us here in Indiana this evening, we have the National Block Walking Coordinator. His name is Andrew Barkman, and he will be our guest tonight, along with our legislative liaison, Marty Wood. So I'll be bringing those two on here very shortly. Like I said, Andrew's the national coordinator. Marty is, as legislative liaison, this is right now kind of falling under his realm of responsibility. So Marty's got some good questions for Andrew, and we'll get a chance to talk with Andrew and learn about block walking. So it's really once again just another form of expressing one's activism through convention of states. Now, time permitting, we're going to bring on one of our COS Indiana Live contributors, and this will be Rick Lyon with the Lion Truth, and he has as all of our contributors do, is they submit pre-recorded segments talking about a particular topic. And Rick's topic tonight is War on Religion. So Rick Lyon with the Lion Truth, and that'll all hinge on how our time goes this evening. So we'll do that, time permitting. All right. Okay. Well, let's see if we got any other comments before we get started here. Okay. All right. Well, nothing more on there to show. So let me get started here. Once again, as I mentioned earlier, our theme this year has been Convention of States and Activism. How you can express your activism through Convention of States here in Indiana. And without further ado, I want to bring on Andrew Barkman, our national coordinator, and Marty Wood, our legislative liaison here in Indiana. Let me bring up Andrew, and let me bring up Marty. Gentlemen, how are you this evening?
Good evening.
Doing well, thank you.
Good. Okay, you can hear us all right. Everything seems to be functioning so far. So let's hope it stays that way. So you heard me say I introduced you, Andrew, and our guest this evening, and Marty Wood. So we always like to start off when we have a guest from Convention of States in any kind of leadership role, where be it here at the state or national. But we always like for you to tell us your COS story. So not your life story, Andrew, but the how, when, where. You've been asked to do this, I'm sure, many times. So Andrew, tell us your COS story.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you for putting this together, and thank you to everybody on the call for taking time to learn and find ways that you can be involved. I think this is the real key, is grassroots involvement. So real quick, I am going to tell a little bit of life story, which is I have family in Elkhart, Indiana. And so my whole life growing up, a lot of times we'd come up for Christmas. I grew up in South Carolina. And so I'd actually get to get a white Christmas quite often.
I bet you did, yeah.
So I've been to Indiana quite a bit, still go very regularly. But currently I live in Cleveland, Ohio. And in 2017, I signed the COS petition. In late 2018, I joined as a district captain. And I just really liked the concept of Article 5. I had never heard of it prior to watching Facebook video. I believe it was the PragerU, specifically it was a PragerU video about Convention of States. I happened to see it on Facebook, which I'm not on anymore for other reasons. But anyway, I got involved as a district captain and have never looked back since. One of the things that led to tonight was, as I was doing my different responsibilities as a district captain, I had block walked before prior to Convention of States, and I saw how much we could do by block walking, and then also that we should really do this nationwide, not just individual efforts here and there.
Was that block walking prior to Convention of States? Was that political party or political candidate oriented?
Yeah, actually interesting right now because of everything that's going on. This was with Susan B. Anthony List, which is a pro-life nonprofit, and we were block walking to get pro-life people elected to office, and one of the things I was in, we flipped a Senate seat in North Dakota. So anyway, it was a really great experience, and it's interesting right now with all the Roe v. Wade stuff going on to see I will be ecstatic if Roe v. Wade is overturned, and I think that'll be a great thing for our country. Obviously, for the babies that will live, that's going to be huge. So I was block walking with them, and that's actually what somewhat delayed me from joining Convention of States, because when Convention of States called me to ask if I wanted to be involved, I had my own company at the time, and I was block walking with Susan B. Anthony in my free time, and I just didn't have any time. But that ended at the end of 2018's election cycle, and some of the volunteers here in Ohio reached back out to me at that point, and I did have the time, and I believed in Convention of States, and so I kind of jumped right in.
Excellent. Okay, so about 2018, you say, is when that transition occurred?
Yeah, into being an active volunteer with Convention of States. I had signed the petition in 2017, maybe a year and a half before that.
Okay. All right, good. All right. Excellent. Well, good. Okay. Well, from this point on, I'm going to let Marty kind of take the reins. And once again, I'll monitor the comments and see what's going on. So, Marty, I'll let you take over. And I think the first thing you wanted to kick off with was introduction and planning. So take it away.
Andrew, we just heard your introduction, so maybe you can give us a little introduction and overview of how you plan a block walk and what's involved with it.
Yeah, one of the nice things with block walking is that most of it is very simple, meaning even before planning, if someone just wants to block walk, you can learn how to block walk in about 30 minutes watching somebody else do it, because you go to a door, you ring a doorbell, somebody comes or doesn't. If someone doesn't, you leave a little piece of information. If someone does come, you talk to them. Usually you have some kind of a script. We have a script with Convention of States, so you actually know what you're going to say at the door. And then similarly, after speaking to somebody, if they really like it, we ask them to sign the petition, and give them still literature to follow up with the local district captain or go to our website. So that's just as a walker. And then for someone who wants to be what we call a block walk captain, there's a little bit more work done because you actually create the block walk. You organize it, you plan it, but ultimately you pick a date. Saturdays are usually the best. We do have a quick side note on that. We do have Convention of States universities for both levels. We have Convention of States University videos for people who want to just block walk. And then we've got a series of 5 videos for people who want to be a captain that explain how you plan. But ultimately, to keep it super simple for this call, you pick a date and you pick a location, a neighborhood. I usually find somewhere that we can meet up, like a park where everyone can park and use the bathroom before we go into a nearby neighborhood, and print out some maps of the neighborhood, things like that. Bring supplies like pens and petitions, clipboards, water, and then you go walk in a neighborhood for a couple hours. So there's more to it than that. Like I said, that's in the videos, but basically you pick a date. When you pick a date, that kind of makes it real. And then you pick a neighborhood that you want to go to, and then you start, inviting anybody that wants to come, wants to learn how to block walk.
Very good. And I know you've been doing this for a little bit of time now, I think a little over a year. What have been some of the best practices that you've seen evolve as this has gone on?
A couple of the best practices, we like to go out in teams. Sometimes when people block walk, after someone's trained, they'll split them off to get to as many houses as possible. But we're much more focused on doing things as a team, building relationships, having fun. It's actually really fun when you go out with someone else. You got someone to talk to between the houses. And so we're really much more focused on safety, fun, relationship building, that kind of thing. So one of our best practices is that you should always walk with a block walk buddy. And then if you've got a whole bunch of people, you can break into teams of 2, but you can still have multiple teams of 2 in the same neighborhood and really blanket a neighborhood. You kind of create a visual impact for yourselves and for the people that you're speaking to. Some other best practices: we usually go out for about 2 hours, so we don't want anyone to be exhausted from the experience. We usually go out about 10 to noon. And you can stretch that, but 10 to noon seems to be a really good one because you can meet up at 9:30, 9:45 at a park, like I was talking about, and kind of get your pregame, what you're going to do that day, where you're going to go. And then you walk 10 to noon. By noon, by the time it's getting hot, you're calling it a day and go grab lunch with the group or head off to whatever else you want to do that Saturday. Saturday morning is also usually a good time for volunteers and for people to be at home, and for people to be at home and not be stressed, right? They're not on their way off to work or whatever, trying to get the kids fed at, a weeknight after work, that kind of thing. So Saturday morning just seems to be a really nice time to do it. If you can do it then, that's a best practice. And then other than that, I would say a lot of it comes down to attitude, meaning if we have a polite and friendly attitude, if we smile and, do things like that, just show that we're friendly and we just want to communicate some information to our neighbors, that's good. And I'll throw one other best practice along those lines, which is not everyone, we have generally positive response to what we're saying, but not everyone responds positively. And so I recommend that you do not try to engage with people that are angry, hostile, or completely disagree with the concept of convention estates. We get about 80-90% of people that do agree with what we're talking about. So it's actually pointless to stop and try to convert a non-COS supporter into one. So we don't try to convert people at the door. We just tell them what we're about and see who likes what we're all about, which is 80-90% of people. So
I got a comment here that kind of plays into this. David Todd says, I feel so insignificant, mainly because those who I try to alert seem complacent. So I think that's complacency. I think is probably something you run into a lot on this, don't you?
Well, so here's actually what's awesome about block walking. The people that answer the door, which is not everyone, right? Not everyone even comes to the door, but the people that do answer the door, if you're friendly, and polite, that usually a lot of them will talk to you and you can actually have an actual conversation. Again, we're getting 80-90% positive response to what we're talking about. Let me put that in contrast to, I have friends and family members who totally know what I'm doing and maybe even are supportive of convention states, and they've never signed the petition. And so I totally understand trying to talk to people. And if you try to talk to people in certain environments, it doesn't work out. Maybe you're at a political thing, but whatever the reason people are there at that event is some other reason than convention estates. And so they're not always giving you the time of day. And if it's a very non-political event, it's so far out of the realm of what most people are thinking about on a day-to-day basis. I've literally seen eyes roll in the back of their heads when I started to talk about convention estates. But oddly enough, the environment on somebody's front porch, on a Saturday morning is very conducive to conversation. And so I've been able to have, again, keep in mind, the first place I really did block walking, and I've done it also for candidates and stuff like that, but the first was Susan B. Anthony list. And you can imagine that could be a contentious topic. And yet still people would talk to me about that kind of stuff at the door. So I just found that the kind of front porch conversation, face-to-face, no other distractions going on, really leads to a good place to have conversations about some of these deeper topics, about the government, how the government's structured, things like that. And so I've had more success talking to random, quote unquote, random people than I do even with my own friends and family. And not that none of my friends and family are into it, but I'm just saying, from personal experience, I get it. And I found that block walking is a great way, because here's the thing: we find the people who are willing to talk about it. So, you've tried with your friends, you've tried with your family. Some of them are into it, some of them aren't. People you thought that are politically oriented would be into it aren't. Whatever. We go out and find the people that want to talk to us, want to talk about it. We ask those people to sign the petition and join the movement.
You said something early on that I think could be very relevant here. You mentioned getting to know people as you go between homes, and here's an opportunity, obviously, that kind of gets people in a comfort zone after a few houses with meeting other people, talking to people. Has this shown to be a good way to bring in a brand new petition signer, brand new supporter to the Convention of States, and help them to not only get to know the team around them, but to get comfortable being an activist.
Yeah, I think that this is the best first step for someone. Really, our big mission beyond calling a convention, that's our goal. Our big mission is to build a strong, engaged army of self-governing activists. And the reason we want that is that's really what is going to not only call the convention, but help run the country in a better way post-convention and as more decisions are made on the local level. But a lot of people aren't currently actively involved in politics. If you look at even a big presidential election, you'll have about 30% of the voting population on one side of a party, about 30% on the other. That's 60. That means 40 to 50% of people aren't even voting, even in the most, when you know, in the middle of the most crazy election where you think everyone's talking about politics, half the country still isn't even voting. And we need people to re-engage. It's the fact that we have been passive for 50, 60 years that has led to a lot of these problems. And so we need people maybe who aren't even politically affiliated to take their first step of political activism. And Convention of States is awesome because it's beyond party, right? It's not a red issue or a blue issue. It's a red, white, and blue issue. And this is something that everyone can get behind. 80% of people want term limits. So anyway, I think it's really great. To your point, is that somebody who's brand new, just heard about Convention of States, kind of excited about the idea, wants to help out, they can watch a 5-minute video, show up to shadow somebody on their first Saturday out, and we give them a script ahead of time. So for the first 30 minutes, they're just listening to the other person say that script, do that thing. So after about half an hour, you've heard the COS message a few times. After you start getting involved, you start saying the COS message. And again, by working with someone else, you're really starting to build relationships with other supporters. So you don't feel like you're the only person out there trying to make the COS movement move forward. You've got a team with you. So I think the team aspect can't be understated. And I think relationship building is huge because we will need those relationships again, even post-convention. Thumbs up and thumbs down amendments. And to self-govern after that. And we want more people active in self-governance. The more of our society we can move back in that direction where they are actively involved in governance, then the better we will all be for it.
Very good. Moving on, you had talked earlier about, and I know you've been doing this for a while, so I know you've put an organization around this. You mentioned, a block walking captain. Tell us about the organization that you've got, ultimately that has made this as effective as it has become.
Yeah, what's the key is captains who know how to set up a block walk and are willing to train other people. Within that, in each state, we do somewhat look for a structure of a state block walk captain who can kind of oversee everything that's going on in the state, help train other captains. Also, a state block walk captain is great for me because I can give information on what's happening as it progresses to that person, and they can in turn give that information to the rest of the state. Then within that, we mirror the regular COS structure if the people on this call are familiar with it. And so the next stage then for us is a regional block walk captain. And the regional block walk captains we're just looking for them to do one block walk a month during the walkable months. And that allows everyone in that region to know that there's a COS event that they can actively participate in and that they can send new people to. And again, after somebody's block walked once, they could show someone else how to block walk. And with a little bit of help from a existing captain or me, we can turn someone into a captain that knows how to set up a block walk and also do the stuff on the back end, which gets into some numbers and things like that.
Great. That's a good lead into the next question. Tell us about some of the tools and the metrics that you've defined that help ensure that this is that you have a successful block walk.
Yeah, it's actually very simple. We've kept everything very simple. On the back end for the captains, we have them answer questions in a form. So it's like a questionnaire. They just punch in, what's your name? What house district were you in? How many people were block walking? Okay, so we had a team of 8. And then we asked some very basic numbers. How many houses total did you go to? Then the next question from that is, how many people did you speak to, right? So maybe I went to 100 houses, but we had 40 conversations. And then the final number really is petitions, is okay, how many people signed the petition? And, maybe if we spoke to 40 people, maybe we got something like 16 petitions. And so we have some numbers like that we track on the back end. And, really just lets us know how many houses we're reaching, how many conversations we're having, and how many petitions are coming from that. But ultimately, I would also say that, beyond what we're tracking, it's even more important to me, again, that we're giving new people a chance to participate, and that we're getting petition signers beyond just signing a petition into actual volunteering and being active in their own self-governance.
Great. Now, even in a past state like Indiana, I think that's still a great way to get more petitions as you're doing the block walking. But what have you done other past states? What other topics do you cover beyond just letting people know about Convention of States? Have you branched off a little bit?
Yeah, each state is a little bit up to itself what it wants to come up with, and this is the way it ought to be, right? And this is how it will be post-convention. So as a past state, you guys are actually in a unique place to kind of set the tone for everyone else. We 100% we want to continue to get the message out. Even in a past state, the majority of people have not even heard of Convention of States. So the more people who've heard about it, like the idea, and want to move the country back towards self-governance, that's already a win. But yeah, there could be individual topics. Some of the things that some of the past states work on are faithful delegate bills, to make sure that the delegates are doing what they're supposed to. But I would say anything that's self-governance related would be a good topic. And really, again, the state can decide for itself what the most important issues are in that state. And then, with the team that existed, now that you've built relationships and you have communication and organization, then you can work together, and relationships with your state legislators. Then you can start to work on any number of things. I could give random examples, but most recently last year, non-COS related, Convention of States was involved in helping flip 2 seats in the Houston Independent School District. And so Texas is a past state, and we're still active there, right? If something like CRT is happening, truly people can be involved in politics at the local level. They don't have to run for president. We can do things like that, put people on a school board to keep things from happening, to the kids. So there's thousands of ways to be involved. And I would say, to Indiana, you guys kind of decide what you think makes the most sense, what's the most pressing issues of the day, what's the most self-governance related things, and we're all kind of on the same page. So we could be involved in that, but still to this day, getting the COS message out, asking people to be involved in that, and getting people talking about the concepts of self-governance, coming to town halls to learn more and go deeper in their understanding of the Constitution and Article 5. That's all good. It's all good for all of us.
I really see this as much an educational opportunity as anything. I mean, I'm still to this day, even though we're a past state, I'm still to this day amazed at the number of people that know nothing about Convention of States, know nothing about Article 5 or, the Constitution as far as that's concerned. So I see it as much an educational opportunity as anything. But
yeah, I've recently been doing a little bit of block walking myself with a block walking buddy of mine, Larry Hartman, who is one of our SIAs as well, and we're just out to ask people's opinion about a number of things. We said, if I were the mayor knocking on your door, or I was a city councilman or a county councilman knocking on your door, or I was a member of the General Assembly, what would you tell me? What would you be concerned about? And surprisingly, we got a lot of, well, I don't really know, So we said, well, here's our card and number. Call us. We'll be happy to be your mouthpiece to those groups, because we talk to them all the time. But you do get some interesting responses at times. I think the more you talk to them, the more they get comfortable. And I'm sure you've seen it too. even the people that come to the door sometimes have other things going on, or in this day they're on conference calls on another phone. So I like your Saturday morning thing. At least it's most people aren't working yet.
I also want to reiterate, I think, what you said about going with a partner. I'm a precinct committeeman here in our area, and I worked the 2020 election, and I just went out there in my precinct all by myself. So it would have been nice to have had someone with me at times.
Yeah, it's a lot better to have somebody out there. Obviously, you can go further alone.
Yeah.
Excuse me, let me rephrase that. You can go faster alone, but I actually think you'll go further together because you will again, you really build relationships and continue to do work. And yeah, it's just more fun. It's more fun having somebody else out there versus feeling like you're the only person out trying to do this Herculean task. If you got somebody else with you, then you're talking between doors and looking at, oh, look at that guy's yard, or whatever. And so good or bad.
Watch out for that guy's dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a comment here. James said, well, states that just joined the movement should block walk. Wisconsin, number 16, Nebraska, 17, West Virginia, 18, and now South Carolina, 19. So any block walking going on in those states?
Yeah, we block walked before even Wisconsin passed. West Virginia, we'll probably be doing some this summer there. South Carolina for sure. And I think this is actually, I'm glad this person brought this up. We have momentum right now. Momentum is something that takes a lot of time to build up. And, early on in the COS movement, people were like, no one's ever heard of you. And, whatever. And now people have heard of us. And now, the chips are starting to fall. And so there is something to momentum. And the fact that four states passed this year is big. Yeah, we still have work to do, but honestly, as this momentum builds, we want to really take advantage of that. And so, again, even in past states, you want to grow the grassroots army. The bigger you grow the grassroots army, the more influence you will have, no matter what the topic is, when you're dealing with the state legislators. And again, when we get to things like the convention, which I think could happen in the next couple of years, meaning we could be 2024 possibly calling conventions. So all I'm saying is momentum is happening, and you want to use that. Like, now is the time to get active. And if you haven't joined the team before, get out there. You can talk to people, and as you're talking to people, you can be bringing up these types of things. Yeah, just this year we passed 4 states. Whoa, okay, where's Indiana? Well, Indiana's passed, but we still need more people to support it, because when the convention is called, we need to be able to say, yes, we like this amendment. No, we don't like that amendment. And we need more people, again, active in self-governance. You can't self-govern without self. And so you need to be involved in what's going on. And we're going to be all much more involved and have influence on what's happening in our day-to-day lives when more decisions are made closer to home. And when more decisions are made closer to home, you're going to want to be in an organization that has good relationships with the legislators and in your state and things like that. You yourself should have, you should know who your state legislator is and start building a relationship with them.
Yeah. Well, keep working, Ohio. We want to see our neighbor to the right come along pretty soon. We're not as hopeful as our neighbor to the left.
Yeah, and we have a block walk captain, state block walk captain in Ohio, a few regional block walk captains. We're growing there. We're block walking in North Carolina. I mean, everywhere. I've got over 20 states that have active block walk teams. So yeah. we are busy a lot of places, and we are just getting started. So Great. It's going to get big and beautiful.
So last question I had for you is, now that you've been doing this for a year plus, what's your, and you've kind of worked through it, worked out some bugs, I'm sure. What's your vision for the future? Where do you see this going? Any things that your lessons learned have started to shift your focus a little bit on?
We got to kind of wind it down here time-wise, okay. All right?
Yeah, I'll try to make this fast. The big vision is really, again, back to letting people participate in the movement, allowing people to take their first step in political activism. Block walking is so simple. Again, somebody could watch a 5-minute video and come out to shadow somebody on a Saturday and be doing it within 30 minutes to an hour of showing up. And so really using this tool as a way to not only engage people at the door, but us as Convention of States allowing new people to really participate and give new people who maybe just signed the petition a way to get actively involved right off the bat. If you think back to the once a month block walk in each region of the state, well, now anywhere in the state that a new person pops up, they're never more than 3 weeks away from an actual activity they can participate in, where they can meet other COS supporters and really start to grow the grassroots army. So I think the big vision here is allowing people to be active versus passive, allowing people to take that first step. They can't take the second step if they don't take the first step, and this is a very low barrier to entry, low training. You don't need a lot of training to show up and ring a doorbell and read a script and hand somebody a leave behind. So the real vision here is allowing as many people as possible the ability to become part of that largest grassroots army in the history of the United States, which we already are, but allowing people to be part of that. And these tools like block walking, I didn't really mention this earlier in the call, but this is the most effective form of activism, meaning the reason people do it when they're running for office is the face-to-face contact, the human interaction. People remember that and will actually lead to action, i.e. they show up at the polls or whatever. So the more people we teach to have the skills to block walk, then even post-convention, the people in your state will have the tools necessary to select and elect the legislators that they want from their local areas. So allowing people to participate, getting more of the country back in the mindset of self-governance, more of the country actively participating in their self-governance and learning along the way. So to the point earlier about education, we can take people from that part and take them further. So anyway, big vision is let as many people as possible participate as quickly as possible from the minute they hear about Convention of States to the minute that they're actively involved. We want that window to be as short as possible, and we want as many people doing that as possible.
Right.
Okay. Well, let me just mention, because I want to wrap this up on the note of self-governance, Andrew and Marty. We here in Indiana, we're developing this project called Road to Activism, and we're going to new recruits, new people coming into Convention of States. We're going to be able to actually offer them a list of activist activities that they can get involved in. That may be, if you want to take on a leadership role, that would be great too. That's a form of activism. But so is attending a rally, or so is testifying at a Senate committee or whatever at our state capitol. But block walking is, of course, going to be one of those activities. So it's going to be part of what we want to offer to new recruits coming into Convention of States here in Indiana. And Andrew, I know you've said this many times in our interview this evening, and of course I know Marty's a very big believer, but this is our objective: self-governance, creating self-governing activists. So any closing comments with regard to this activity and self-governance?
Yeah, I guess I would just say again that this is a way to be active, and you don't have to be a constitutional scholar or a lawyer or anything like that to participate. Block walking is very easy. If you can walk and you can talk, you can block walk. And so this is a great way to kind of dip your toe in the water and start doing something to fight for your country. If you believe that this country can be as great as it's ever been, and you believe it's worth fighting for, then you want to get off the couch, as you guys were saying earlier, and actually take action. And this is an action almost anyone can take. And so that's really my big thing, is that we need to be active, and this is a way to be active. And we're gonna, and I personally, and some of the state leadership here, we're going to work to create those opportunities. So also, if you're on this call and you think you might want to be a block walk captain, get with your captains and let them know, and we can get you information and training materials, anything along those lines. But yeah, let's get active in our own self-governance, and don't sit on the sidelines anymore. It's the passiveness that has allowed the problem. We have responsibility for the problems that exist. The good news is, if we're part of the problem, we can also be part of the solution. I can look at the man in the mirror and say, am I doing something to save my country? And this is something that you can do.
Yeah, our saying is activism beats pessimism. So
Yeah.
we're sitting around moaning about it. Get up and do something about it.
Yeah, don't yell at the TV. Go talk to your neighbor about ways we can work together.
Well, Andrew, Marty, one of our region captains, you've sold him. Dale Tipton, awesome presentation tonight. A great way to directly involved in self-governance and an easy doorway to access activism. So, yep. Good deal. Well, Andrew, Marty, I want to thank you guys for giving us your time this evening. I think it's been a great interview. And I think we here in Indiana, we gotta talk about how we're gonna organize this, but that's just, we'll get over that hump and we'll get it done.
Yeah, and let me know whatever you guys need. I will help you.
All right.
Andrew's got the recipe figured out already.
Okay. All right. Marty, thank you very much for your time. And Andrew, once again, thank you very much for your time this evening.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys. See you. I wanted to go back to one of the comments that I got that I wasn't able to show up here. There's actually two comments and they're together. This is from Carlos. Good evening. I'd like to schedule an interview with a COS member to share. And the rest of it was share with my audience on Rogue News. Carlos, please email us your contact information and we will we will talk to you about what you're requesting there. And I'm going to be showing that to you here again very, very shortly. We kind of went over on our interview this evening, so I'm going to forego the contributor segment again tonight. This is the second broadcast in a row that we've gone over time on the interview, and so I've got to put this this contributor segment. Rick, if you're listening or watching tonight, I apologize. We will get your segment, your contributor segment on. I promise you, but we're not going to have time to do it tonight. So I'm going to move on. I want to show Carlos that. Let me see if I can find that. Go back up here a little bit and find that email address. Carlos, if you would email us at raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com, raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com, please, and give us your contact information, and we'll be in touch with you to talk to you about your request. So that's what I wanted to make sure that Carlos saw. I hope you're still on, Carlos. So thank you very much. Well, let's wrap things up this evening. And let me get down here. We're going to wrap things up with a little segment from Maringo Mike. You know, Maringo Mike comes on once in a while. I like to use him as part of the closing. And Maringo Mike does a segment in our monthly newsletter, which if you don't get that, you really should. If you're a supporter, you need to opt into the email and get this newsletter that comes out every month. If you don't get it on email, it's available on our Facebook page, Commission of States, Indiana. So you can see it there too. But Maringo Mike, he just gets into a little bit of everything. And I wanted to show you what he is most recently involved in a little election integrity. So take a look at what Marengo Mike's gotten into here.
Welcome to another Marengo Mike's Corner. One of the hot topics we've been discussing all year long here at COS Indiana is the question people are asking, what can I do? And with growing concerns over election integrity, people are looking to get more involved and actively participate in self-governance. So, in this important election year, one of the ways you can get active is to volunteer to be involved in the election process. There are many positions you can sign up for to monitor our very important elections. And, as always, if you see something suspicious, you need to point it out, because you never know what might be happening behind the scenes. That's all for now. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Now, I have no idea what he's insinuating there. I'll tell you that Marengo Mike, sometimes he just steps out there and you just never know what he's going to say. You just never know what he's going to do. So can't, I always enjoy Marengo Mike. You know, he was cleaning out the swamp. And so now he's into election integrity. So I thought that was very good. So I thought I wanted to share that with you. All right. Well, folks, I think that is going to be it for this evening. And I just want to close with one more thought. And that's the GOTC, get off the couch. Folks, that's what we're talking about. That's all part of self-governance. That's all part of becoming an activist through Convention of States here in Indiana. And we just talked to you this evening about a great way to get involved and to exercise your activism through block walking. We have many, many other opportunities for you to exercise your activism. So stay tuned and become part of the group here in Indiana for Convention of States. So with that, I'm going to say good night to everyone. Thank you for tuning in, and look forward to seeing you next Monday, May 16th, for our next broadcast. We're going to have, I'll just tell you, our guest for that evening is going to be one of our newest district captains. And she is Elizabeth Haracle. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. But Liz is going to come on, and we're going to introduce you to her as a new district captain. She's up in the northwest corner of Indiana. And I think you're going to enjoy meeting her. We always like to bring on new district captains and introduce them to everyone, where they're located, give you an idea, and talk about what they want to try and accomplish here in Convention of States. So with that said, I'm going to wrap it up this evening. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in once again, and we'll see you next Monday evening. Good night, everyone.